What's going on? Schuyler Diehm here, men's weight loss coach, and today we are going over the dumbbell bench press form. Now, the dumbbell bench press is one of those exercises that is super important for chest development, for health of the shoulder and the chest, and it's one that I see a lot of beginners actually doing wrong. Usually when we try to imitate people and we watch them, a lot of times some small cues are missing that is actually not only preventing you from seeing a lot more strength and muscle development, but also actually potentially putting your shoulder and your chest at risk for injury. And so in this video, we're really gonna work on 4 specific cues to make sure that you're getting the most out of this exercise. So let's get into it. So what I tend to see in the gym is a lot of beginners go straight to the barbell bench press because that's the one that most guys tend to really focus on. But the dumbbell bench press is really an important aspect of chest development. You know, not only do you get more of a range of motion with dumbbells, but you also allow each individual side of the chest to be working individually rather than feeling like you're going to be overcompensating. Along with that, you're also recruiting the stabilizers, whereas with a barbell, you're kind of locked into one plane of motion. With the dumbbells, you're allowed to kind of balance them to make sure that they're staying in that plane. So when we're looking at form here, we're going to look at 4 specific cues to get into place. So number 1 is elbow position. Number 2 is tightness of the body. Number 3 is really focusing on chest activation. And then number 4 is making sure you have full control. And so let's just start getting into it. So the first one is going to be elbow position. Now, what I see a lot of guys do, especially when they are beginning and they see other people doing the bench press, is they tend to keep their elbows out at a 90-degree angle from their body. And so the problem with that is that when you're actually in that position, you're putting your shoulder at a very vulnerable state. And so basically with the dumbbell bench press, we don't want to be at that 90-degree angle. You see how my elbows are straight out here? This is really putting that shoulder in a vulnerable position. So we instead want to come to a 45-degree angle. So your elbows should be kind of pointing like down and away from you. And when you get in this position, you also want to make sure that you are holding the dumbbells at that same angle. Right? You don't want the dumbbells to be perpendicular to your body. You want them to be kind of in that same plane as your arms. And so that's the first cue, right? Instead of having your shoulders out here, this is a big mistake people make too on the incline dumbbell bench press, but really we want to just make sure that we're coming down rather than out, right? Down rather than out. So once you have that cue in place, you want to focus on tightness of the body. Now what a lot of people tend to do is they tend to flatten the spine. They tend to kind of stay loose and just use their shoulders and their chest. But when we're getting this position, we really want to be in that spot where we just maintain total tightness. And so what does that mean? That means moving your feet up closer to your body. That means squeezing your butt cheeks. That means tightening your core and then tightening your chest, right? So pulling your shoulder blades down is a really great way to tighten your chest and is actually a great way to make sure that you have stability and you're not putting your shoulders at more risk of injury. And so the way to do that is you can kind of just drive your shoulder blades down. Down meaning drive your lats to your knees, your shoulders to your knees, and then also your shoulder blades to the bench. And so what a lot of people tend to do is when they drive their shoulder blades down, and I made this mistake when I was first starting out, they tend to lift their shoulders up to their ears. We want to make sure that we're in a very tight position where our shoulder blades are down, our scapula is down. And so this is something that could potentially take some practice. A good trick that you can do to kind of get this into motion is when you get into position and you have these dumbbells up, you can actually kick your feet and move your butt up. So you can slide your butt up while keeping your shoulder blades in position. And that's kind of going to put you in this more powerful position. And then here, when we're maintaining that strict form, we want to make sure that our butt is not coming up off the seat. So squeeze the butt, but have it touching the seat at all times. Drive into the floor with your feet. And if someone with a super skinny arm were to reach under you, they should be able to slip their arm under your lower back, right? Your lower back doesn't have to be flat with the bench. And so when you get that tightness, what you're going to find is you just are more stable. You have more control over everything. It seems like rather than trying to muscle up the weight, you can go in this one range of motion and you can really control it the entire way. And so that's cue number 2. Cue number 3 that we're going to get into is focusing more on the activation of the chest rather than focusing on the actual movement itself. And so this is a mistake a lot of beginners make, especially when they're getting into the gym, is they're just focused on the motion, right? They're focused, if they're curling, on getting the weight from the bottom to the top. They're focused on bench press, getting the weight from the bottom to the top. And in the process, they miss a lot of strength and muscle gains from activating the actual muscle they're using. And so you may have heard of the term mind to muscle connection. It's one Arnold Schwarzenegger made super popular. But basically when you're working out, you want to make sure that you're actually activating that muscle. So this can be very difficult for a lot of beginners. And so a way to kind of get that activation into motion would be to stand or sit. Make sure you press your hands up against each other and just feel the squeeze in your chest. So that's kind of going to be variation 1. Once you have that down, you've really started to tune into that muscle and feel that muscle activation. Do the same exact movement, but don't touch your hands. So hands, squeeze, no touching hands. And you should feel the same squeeze in your chest. And then you can just put your arms down, rest them, and then squeeze them and see what it's like, right? And then the more you do that, basically what you can do is in the actual motion, focus on squeezing the chest. And so a good cue here is rather than thinking about bringing the hands and the weight to the top, think about bringing your elbows to the top, right? Or the inside of the elbow. I forget the name of this. But basically thinking about driving that up rather than driving the hands and the weight up. Because sometimes when you do that, you can put a little more focus on the triceps. Whereas if you're focusing on the inside of the elbow, you can actually work on activation. And I'll kind of put this all together in a second. But the final thing that's going to be the most important here is make sure you are picking a weight you can fully control. As you're getting this form down, you may have to go 15, 20, 30 pounds lighter just to make sure that you're getting your form right, to make sure your butt is staying on the seat, you're staying tight, you have full control over it the whole time. And so really here's some good cues is really squeeze the weight, but also make sure that you're not using momentum, right? You can even come down, maybe even make it like a 3 to 5 second drop, and then hold it at the bottom and then push up. And a really good other activation cue is instead of just like exploding up, you can make it a slow and controlled up, maybe like 3 seconds to the top. So let's put it all together here so we can see how it looks. So first thing I'm gonna focus on is when I get in position, getting tight. So for me, that means kicking my feet closer to my shoulders, squeezing my butt cheeks, and activating my shoulder blades. And what you'll notice here is when you actually activate your shoulder blades, the dumbbells will stay in the same position, but you'll notice more of a stretch in your chest. This is just kind of natural when you get more of that range of motion. So elbows 45, tight, and then I'm gonna focus on using a weight I control, so really squeezing it, and just come up. And when I'm coming up, again, focusing on the activation of the chest, focusing on driving the inside of the elbows up to the sky. Down, squeeze, up. And if you even want to take it a step further, when you come down, as long as you keep a tight grip on the dumbbell, you can actually kind of relax the chest. And then up, down, relax, up, right? And so test that out. Try that out a couple times. Make sure you're making those small tweaks. Make sure you keep all of those cues. Stay tight, full range of motion, 45 degrees, and really squeeze and control. And the more you do it, the more you're going to notice that not only are you more in tune with your chest, but of course you're going to be able to control more weight and you're going to be able to actually dig into the pain more. And I mean the good pain, not the bad pain, right? The burn. And so this is something we teach our clients. This is something that we've had a lot of awesome success with. So if you're looking for those strategies, we've got a 30-day workout plan. We've got a ton of awesome stuff. Make sure you check the link in the description of this video for our free course. This course is basically on how to simplify the process of weight loss. So how we use fasting, weight training, and mindfulness and mental toughness to see awesome results with your body. So make sure to check that out. Of course, subscribe if you're looking for more awesome tutorial videos and other strategies to simplify weight loss. But besides that, as always, I appreciate you. And of course, eat smart, move more, sleep deep, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you in the next video.